welcome back to Math Time with Professor Prime, and I'm your host as always, Professor Prime. And in this very special episode of Math and Pokemon, we're going to celebrate 25 years of Pokemon. So I will be talking about some math, I will be talking about some Pokemon, I will be talking about them together and how much I enjoy both of those things. And I also want to share, my Pokemon journey throughout the years. I've had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, let's get into it. So first and foremost, Pokemon is a massive franchise, a massive multimedia franchise, and there's so many elements to consider with that. And some of the things that I'll mention here and there could be videos within their own self, and some of the things that I'm going to mention in here are videos within themselves. So I'll put links in the description for those sort of things though. That being said, if we start off with the video games, um, it took a while for them to get over here, but when they did, they exploded. And so much followed from that. And if we look within the video games and we look at the math in there, there is a ridiculous amount of that in there. And I think a good way to start is like with the combat, because the idea is like you have health, and you're trying to KO the opponent if you're battling, and whittle down the opponent if you're trying to capture that opponent if they're a Pokemon. That is, you can't capture people. Although I think there was a bit in Pokemon Let's Go where I think Green tries to capture you, but that's a whole nother thing. um, so yeah, there's a lot of math in the battle mechanics, because you have the idea that you are trying to whittle down health, but you also have the idea that you only have a certain amount of moves per Pokemon. You only have 6 Pokemon max per battle, in most cases, and you have type advantages and disadvantages to consider, because either the damage is halved or doubled, and that goes in both directions, or different things with that. And in some cases, you could have damage not be taken at all, which is great. And in addition to that sort of stuff, if you take a deeper look at the stats, there's a lot of math in that, of course. I mean, there's stats. That's expected, right? And I think it's fascinating to me though, because there's the stats that are forward facing, and then there's already a lot of math with that. HP, speed, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, all that jazz. But then you have the hidden mechanics, and I talk about that a bit more in my in another one of my videos, which I'll link in the description, like I said before. And you also have status effects, and that changes some things. That being said, outside of battle and also affecting battle is the idea that you have to worry about resource management. You have a certain amount of items that you can carry in each of these games, and I think that's something to be said, because you have to say, oh, okay, well, I got this amount of money that I have, and I want to buy this item or that item. What's going to help me in battle? What's going to help me capture more Pokemon? What's going to help me on my way? What can I afford to do right now? What can I save towards in the future? And I think that's pretty cool. And the whole world that you're traveling in, there's a lot of math in actually building it, and then there's a lot of math when you're playing through it. And I think that's pretty amazing. And so for the most part, I've been talking about the main games, and I'm not gonna go too far in a lot of the spin-offs and all that jazz. But it's worth noting that there are a lot of different Pokemon games out there. You have the Pokemon Stadium games, the Pokemon Coliseum games. You have Let's Go, and all that jazz, and they all have their own battle mechanics with a lot of math in there and a lot of behind the scenes things. And you have games like Pokemon Snap, and there's math in that too. And so I think it's pretty cool. And oh, while we're talking about Pokemon video games, Pokken Tournament, that's an underrated game. There's a lot of math in that, and I do want to talk about that in the future. But yeah, so outside of the games, there's a lot of math out there too. So there's the anime, and there's the manga, and within those worlds, there's math that dictates what happens. But when you're creating those things, there's a lot of math too. Like if you're creating the manga, you have to consider And there's several mangas, by the way. But like when you're writing a manga and drawing a manga, you have to keep your deadlines in check. You also have like a limited amount of space to work in, and in that space, you know, everything is precious. So you want to make sure everything counts. You have your artwork to consider as well as like written text, and you also have to consider how long is this story and can it fit in the confounds of the pages. And as crazy as it sounds, there's math in that. And with the anime, there's so much that goes into that. Like, one, it takes a really long time, and so if you want to reach a certain deadline, all your team to collaborate in a way that works. And there's a lot of math in that logistics, and a lot of math in actually creating and animating everything. And I'll probably like leave a link to math and animation. That video that I did on that because that's pretty cool, and it has some useful resources in it too. And I'll probably do like the whole math and gaming thing in addition to the math and Pokemon because I have like playlists for some of these things. So yeah, there's a lot to consider when you're making all these like different all these different items. And recently we had Detective Pikachu a few years back, and that's live action, and you're working with CG, and there's a lot of math that goes into making that CG and coordinating the actors with that CG, and you got the length of the movie to like consider. So yeah, all that being said, there's a lot of math in Pokemon, and I think that's pretty cool. And if we go on a continue to go like that meta path, so when you look at the worlds that Pokemon compose, there's a lot of math in those, and there's a lot of math in creating those worlds, and there's a lot of money in Pokemon. There's a reason why it keeps on going. It's making money. People like that it's making money, so they keep on pushing that. And you know what? I'm here for it. Um, but that being said, there's a lot of money involved, and that there's math and money. That's something that we all know. So you can't get around that. And so whenever they're coming up with these different projects, they have to weigh how much money they're going to be making from this, or how much money they could be making from this. And it's so bankable that it'd be easy to kind of like not do great things. But I feel like if you fell off, there's still that possibility that things could end. So they have to consider all that. And they got a lot of money to work with, and a lot of teams, and there's so much that they're coordinating across the board, because it's not just one person that does Pokemon. It's different teams in the game, different teams in the anime, in the manga, and when we were talking about Detective Pikachu, different things in that. So that was a overall for math and Pokemon, and now I want to talk about my experience with that franchise over these. I was gonna say several years, but it's been 25, so that it's been around, and I've been in it, into the franchise for like 23. So yeah, let's talk about that. So, and also, come on, 25 years, talking about time, talking about numbers, there's math in that. But yeah, so I've been a big fan. Like back when Pokemon hit the States, back when we had Pokemon Red, I had an absolute blast with that. I was the right age for it, I feel, to like get into it. Because, I wasn't thinking about, oh my God, should I be playing this game that's like geared towards children? Like, I was a child. I didn't think about that. And for the record, Pokemon's fun at any age. I still play the games. Like, but I enjoyed it. And for the record, Raichu is my favorite Pokemon, through and through. Yeah, so with the games, I had such a like fun time with it, and when Pokemon did hit the seas here, it was everywhere. You couldn't avoid it. So I played the games. I watched the anime. I didn't really know about the manga back then, but I got into the trading cards, and I could do an entire video on that because there's a lot of math in that and how that works, and then there's a lot of things to consider with like buying the cars and and selling some in some cases. So yeah, but that's a whole nother story for another day. But I did definitely play them. Of course, like I think when I started, I didn't know how to play, but that wasn't too bad to like learn. In any case, it was fun, and I wish I had saved some of my cards. But yeah, so Pokemania, that was a thing, and there's a bunch of different people of that watch this channel so far, and for the record, I'm glad about that. And as I begin to expand, I hope even more people do. And of the people so far, there's a huge age range. And so I don't know who's gonna watch this out of that because like Pokemon is fun for all ages, but I'll say it was just like crazy growing up as a kid with that. And there's a lot of people that might remember what that was like during that time. And there's some people who maybe they don't. Because, like, this was in '98. Whew, where does the time go? But yeah, so I grew up with that and it was fun. And then, I also watched the first movie, like Pokemon, the first movie, and that was great. Um, it was, I count it as a classic at this point. It was good stuff. Although we missed out on some backstory in the beginning, and that you can like access later on, where there was a short before it that was like really dark, but really interesting. In any case, like I have had fun with Pokemon, and I think like when you're a kid, and this isn't necessarily true for everybody, but when you're a kid, you don't always think about money. And so I think it's worth it to talk about that real quick because one of the things with Pokemon is it makes a lot of money, and you have to consider your money as a customer when you're getting it. And for me, like if I'm talking about like the games, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a good experience because I mean sometimes people complain that Pokemon hasn't changed that much, but the truth is like it has a formula and there's different things in each game. Some things work, some things don't, but they change it just enough to think I can keep it interesting while maintaining enough of the formula to let players know what they're going to get into. I think that is amazing in its own right for me. Um, and as an adult, I have to consider where my funds are going to go, and I have to be careful with that. And so when I'm looking at a game, it's like, do I have a good idea of this game and if it's going to be good without diving into spoilers? And with Pokemon, I don't really have to question that much. Like if I pay for a new game, like back when I paid for Pokemon Sword, that was $60 when it came out. But I wanted it when it came out. I was in a position to get that, so I went for it. And even though it was $60, I knew I was gonna get my money's worth of it out of it. And oh yeah, I did. And I like that game, by the way. I know like some people didn't, but I did. And a lot of other people did too. But yeah, so money and considering that is a big thing. And for me, Pokemon has kind of come in and out of my life, but it's been more consistent, I think, since college. Because this is how it was for me. I played, Pokemon Red, got into the anime, got into the cards and all that, and it was all over the place. You couldn't escape Pokemon for several years. Then, saw the movie and everything, and then Pokemon Gold and Silver came out. And, well, before that, Yellow, and I did get Yellow. But Pokemon Gold and Silver came out, and oh my god, that generation right there. Pokemon Gold is my favorite game. It was then, it is now, and I'm a big fan of it. It was so cool. They had so many things that they added, and I dug it. I dug it hard. It was a quality game, and I think at the time, they didn't know if they were going to be able to make a sequel or not, and they put their all into it, and you know what? It paid off. And for the record, one of the things that I like to do in that game, is like I get the fire starter in most games, and in this case it was Cyndaquil. So I have Cyndaquil, then I get Quilava, then Typhlosion, and with Typhlosion, by the time I get later in the game, I do have like a certain move set that range of move sets that I like, because I normally include something that's powerful, and that gives me a type advantage, typically flamethrower, and then something that kind of shakes things up a bit and that's like pretty powerful across the board, like Earthquake. And that helps me out in a couple different ways. For some Pokemon where it actually affects them, it can be useful, and I think it works if you're fighting the ground, which rock. Where was it going with that? Sorry, back that up. So if I was going against rock type, and I have earthquake. That's gonna do some devastating damage. But with that in mind, I also carry like a neutral move, like a normal type move, normally headbutt, which can cause flinching. And then here's the kicker: Thunder Punch. Cause it's like, come at me, water Pokemon, come at me. I got something for you. Yeah, Thunder Punch. Cause that is a thing that you could do. And for the record, like, you could do that in both gold and silver and hard gold and hard silver, and that's pretty cool. But this is getting long, so I'm gonna keep it moving. But just know that hey, Typhlosion with the Thunder Punch, man, it's good stuff. But after that, I did have things die down a bit. I didn't have a Game Boy Advance, so I skipped that next generation for a bit, and Pokemon was kind of into my life. But then when I got to college, I actually got back into it, and I played Ruby. And since then, I've been pretty consistent with it. There was a couple times where it's been like in and out, but I think once I got out of college, it was consistent until then, and that was a while ago. So that says something. But yeah, this got to be a really long video, which I did anticipate it to be long, and hopefully I didn't ramble too much. But my whole thing is, Pokemon has been around for 25 years. I think that is amazing, and no matter which part of the franchise you're in, you're gonna find something that's fun. And to me, that is typically worth your money. And I think it's really cool. And for me, I think out of everything in the franchise, I am a fan of the video games the most. I still like the other things, but I think I like the video games the most. And there's just like so much math in those games, and I think that's amazing. And there's so much math in making them. There's so much math in deciding what you want and like actually buying them. So it's like you got resource management in those games, but you got resource management in real life. It's good stuff. So if you watch this entire thing, thank you. And if you're a big fan of Pokemon, awesome. And I hope that you continue to play. And if you weren't a fan, and I'd kind of be surprised if you watched it, but kind of honored that you watched it anyway, even if you weren't a fan. But yeah, Pokemon. I'll see you on the next video. Professor Prime out.